Hey, welcome back. As you can see, this video's a bit longer than my other ones. It's basically a bunch of B-roll that I recorded while setting up for episode 9 and 10. I just didn't want to waste all this footage, so I made this nice long edit, and I'm just gonna talk over the top of it. I'm gonna be playing music in the background, and in the bottom corner, if I remember correctly and I get this right, I'll be putting the name of the song and the artist who it belongs to as I go along. I got some stuff to talk about. We're gonna start with the player base. Okay, so I'm not too sure how well Hello Games have communicated with their player base over the years, but you know, nothing gets ever reported as negative. Although I can't help but notice it's almost like with Hello Games development and development cycle and the things they do and don't release, it gives me the impression that the ones that are developing this game, don't really know who their player base is. I mean, they've got their own creative ideas going on, sure, and they try to cater to a fan base that it comes across like they don't really know who their player base is. I don't want to dunk on the game at all in any way, shape or form, because like I've said before, like I said at the start of my video series, I genuinely think this game is a masterpiece, just bare bones. It's like an ocean-sized shallow pool of the best tasting spring water you could ever possibly have, and yet its player base is so tiny for what the game has to offer. And not only that, I mean, when we look at the videos from Hello Games on their YouTube channel, I think it's their official one, I'm not sure, they literally have millions of viewers within a couple of weeks, and per video, and that tells you that there's this huge demand for people, that they're looking over at No Man's Sky waiting for the update of updates, whatever that may be, and they'll see the update happen and they'll be like, oh, that's cool, and what, 2-3% will actually go and check it out, and that's not even talking about other issues within it. So I'm not too sure how well the feedback goes from the player base to the actual developers. I hope Hello Games sees this, and if they do, well, I don't expect them to see this, and if they do see any of their content creators' videos, I hope they pay attention to the actual criticism complaints that they have. Because there's nothing worse than a developer that wants to be popular and wants to be praised and respected, but then won't listen to the fan base that will, you know, pay for their stuff. Which, it's just absurd to me when they don't approach this sensitively. I think one of the solutions that Hello Games could approach is, as bad as this sounds, and you're going to hear me go around this loop often, is they need to actually look at this game as an MMO, as what it is, rather than a universe simulator, and pretend that it's not primed for an MMO experience. I'd like to draw your attention to games like Star Citizen. That's got this formula with everything that No Man's Sky has, but they've tightened everything up, and there's just more to it. I will talk more about that one a little bit later. And one of my solutions to this, so I don't want to just sort of complain about something without offering some degree of a solution. There's no point me addressing that there's a fire in the kitchen if I'm not willing to do stuff about it. Anyway, but introduce like a polling system inside every space station, so everyone will encounter it, and then give people the options of like, what is it that they really want to see in the future of this game, and that way you guys at Hello Games can be given an actual direction rather than just grabbing a bunch of stuff and mashing it all together. I raise this point because, like, the Xeno Arena feature, well, that's great. I'm glad that you saw what Power World was doing, and since they grew a set of balls, you thought you'd join in too. We all love that. However, we could have done, as the player base, we could have done with a whole lot more maintenance than an introduction like a Pokemon. I mean, and again, not to diss this feature of the game, but what percentage do you think of the No Man's Sky, I want to explore space and all these planets, collect ships and do all of this sci-fi stuff, what percentage of them want to sit down at a Pokemon Center and battle Pokemon? Like, I imagine you're kind of barking up the wrong tree a little bit. Sure, you probably will have well, you know your player base is in their sort of late 30s down to early 20s. You know that's your player base. And you know within that player base, most of us like the whole Monster Rancher experience, so yeah. Like I say, there's not a complaint to it, but it's like, who was you doing it for? Clearly yourselves as the developers, you're doing it for you guys. You wasn't doing it for the players or the fan base, although, like, you know, people that keep coming back. My solution to this would be introduce a voting system, polling system. Give us some options and say which do you want the developers to sort of focus on so the next update is about X or Y or whatever. Give us that. It gives you the ability to speak to the player base without having to get 2 or 3 content creators' opinions, which is a very narrow bandwidth. And instead, you can get a metric of the entire player base that's actually willing to log in and interact with the game's future. And if people don't vote, or people don't have a polling system, you don't know who is going to be a part of your game's future. So, yeah, my solution would be engage more if they don't already. I don't see much of it, but it'd be nice if they actually introduced it into the game. We will come back to player base and player interaction with the developers later, I'm sure. But for now, I suppose that's all I've got to say about this. Factions and races. Okay, so like most of these sort of subjects, I'm sure you've heard every other YouTuber that makes No Man's Sky content complain about. But like, I'm gonna start with the lesser things and move my way up. I remember really early in the game where everything looked like an octo crab, everything, and the fact that that is now like you might see 1 or 2 versions per solar system is pretty good. However, that doesn't change the fact that there's repeats of the same species that are like whole star systems apart. And again, it's like, there's no complaint about it because that's not what this game's about. If you explore long enough, you do genuinely see some unique variations. However, to see the same walking branch plant creature on 15 different worlds across 5 different stars, some of these stars are 100 or even 1,000 light years away from each other. I mean, it's like, what's the phrase? Ludonarratively broken. It's strange. And I'm not sure why there's such a lack of deviation when there is clearly so much that can deviate, that it seems almost bizarre that the same creatures are being repeated. But regards to that one, talking about the races, there's a mysterious hidden race or species in the character selection that we are just simply told it's locked and that's that, shut up, move on. That'd be nice to get some information on it. I suppose it was one of those, you leave a branch open in case you want to come back to it later, and I guess even though it's been a little while, you've been focused on other stuff, so we haven't had that fix yet. It is what it is. My biggest gripe, I suppose, here is the races mean absolutely nothing except cosmetics. You got Korvac, Vy'keen, and Gek, and yet every single one of them sells the exact same stuff, sounds exactly the same when they talk, and their quest line is more or less what they're. I'm not going to talk about much quests because I don't really know too much. We will get to that video, I'm sure, down the line. But the whole point about the whole race is they mean absolutely nothing, which is bizarre because when you approach a star, you have the option of selecting between the 3 races and even the option of no race at all, no species at all. So like, what is the point of including it like it's a data point if there is no use case for it? The same applies with guilds. With the whole guilding system, like the race system, it's just like, well, the guilds have more content in them than the race system does, but the point I'm saying is, it'd be nice if you was a Gek and you went to a Gek system and that somehow benefited you being of that species. Maybe not in all star systems, but, you know, a hostile Gek system that don't like Korvac, that would add such an extra little flavour to the game that you'd have to actually pay attention to which type of stars you would jump to. You know, anomaly hostile stars, that would give rise to each of the races having purposes and places. Especially you could zoom into that an extra degree and have it like the Gek focus on biological material, the Korvax focus on technology, and the Viking focus on ship tech and weaponry, or, you know, whatever the dividing point was. And that way, when you select your race and you choose one and you fly around recognized as a member of the Korvax species, you're going to have an easier time in Korvax systems. Or you'll have to fly into peaceful Gek systems or peaceful Viking systems. So not only would this give weight to all of the races, it would also give weight to the different actual danger classes. Because when I enter a 1-star difficulty, like a 1-level threat or a 3-level threat, it basically feels the same in comparison to, say, my 5th jump and I've got a whole dogfight to deal with. Once you've dealt with 1 or 2 of those, and once you realise you can just melt other ships down, what's the point in having this type of conflict zone, that type of conflict zone over there? It waters the whole thing down and just turns into, oh, every system has the same moral compass, every single system and every single member of these species have absolutely no problems with any other member of these species. And I'm pretty sure there's a whole bit of like the Geks enslaving the Korvax, which is like, what, no planet, no star, no Korvax in the entire galaxies has beef with any Geks. It's just strange. And there's a missed opportunity to add some pressure when hopping between stars. It would be cool to be bottlenecked into only having kind of an okay relationship with both races, or, you know, you've got an enemy on one side where if you jump to the Gek systems as a Korvac, they will shoot you on sight. They will prevent you from entering the space station if they can help it. Anytime you land anywhere or any type of building you go to with a Gek in it, expect them to not want to trade with you or charge you extortionate prices. This would add more weight too if you, an individual, was playing as a Gex and me, the Korvax. We would meet up, my goods would be easier to get for me, your goods would be easier to get for you, and then we can actually engage in a trade system. Or we could apply the same application to guilds. You join a guild of, let's say, the Merchants Guild. Well, that doesn't mean anything, because you can also join the Explorers Guild and the Mercenary Guild, level all of them up to max, and just get free loot from them. That's it. None of them are at beef with each other. None of them actually sell anything different or unique or cosmetic. If you're in any kind of guild of any variety and you get it to max level, you can't put a little sticker on the side of your ship to say, I'm an elite exalted member of the exploration guild or factions. There's no hopping to a star. That is there is a guild system within the star chart, but if you were to actually sit down and look at it, you have no idea that it's there. It has no use case. You can't really see it in the star chart unless it's like completely highlighted to you on a wiki page or whatever it is. So again, another golden opportunity that's just sort of shaved down to look like something. And if we was to apply this guilds and factions and races to the whole thing, let me talk about how the economy station works. What is it? It's just a generic shop where it manufactures a fictitious price value for something. And I understand it's a game. Of course it's a fictitious price. But it's like, if the price of an item is based on its supply and its demand, and you hopping between stars to see this is a scientific area, this is a biological star system. Again, none of these things really matter, because you can make most of the stuff you can find in most of the planets. Anything that's more complicated, like dirt, isn't even useful. It's a trade commodity. This trade commodity, you don't trade with other players to try and make a flip like you could at the stock exchange. Oh no, you just hop to another system where they don't sell this one item out of the 15 items or 20 items you will get per star system. Where's the economy? There is no supply and demand. It is, everything can sell everything and everything is worth zero. I assign the value of stuff. And yet, if I go to whatever shop with 100,000 million oxygen and sell it to that shop, sell it to that system, the system wouldn't change one bit. It'd make no difference. So there is no economy market. The idea of calling it a market is ridiculous. Really, it should be called like, I don't know, cash sink. It's a wasted opportunity. It's a golden thing that you've got there. You have so many items in this game. You could genuinely make an economy that actually has push and pull to it, actually has weight to it. When you get your AI sub regulators or whatever, other players would actually need that item for whatever they're building. But to do that, you'd have to give the player a lot more autonomy over their position, what Hello Games needs to assume that the player base is far more intelligent than what the industry assumes us to be. Again, I haven't played this game, but I've seen bits of it, of the game Star Citizen, and the idea that you and a couple of friends can get together, build yourself a really fat ship, and go somewhere that only has this one system that has this one item, and this one item is valued across the whole player base. So you and your buddies go and lock that place down for a little while. You've got such a large galaxy to be able to work this in. If you were to just cut off one of the 255 galaxies we've got to choose from and curate one as like a survival experience with a real economy, real races, real conflicts, pirate systems would actually become pirate systems where all the races would come together, and there'd be, ironically, less beef but more PvP, and you would actually be able to generate a PvP-esque environment because every item would have stakes. So when another player would arrive with their bags full to the brim of nipnip, you would be incentivized to say, I'm going to shoot this guy down so I get a bunch of money, so I get a bunch of resources that I can sell over at my star system, and then use the resources from that to buy from your star system, and you'd have this huge interconnected network. You have enough items, you have enough options, you have enough creative ideas. What's the problem? And if the problem is we don't know how to implement it, please reach out. Please reach out. Don't think you are above a good idea going great. You have gold in your hand and you seem to be struggling to realize the depths of what it is you have here. Well, I'm sure I'll bring some more stuff up about that one, but for now, let's move on. Yeah, take off the limiters off the RNG of generating the mobs. Just let it go crazy. Let it go crazy. Everyone would appreciate it. Don't worry about curating it. Co-op and MMOs. If I was to tell you the co-op experience is the thing that kills this game the most and the fastest, nobody on this earth would be surprised, because I would be the last person to announce this. We all know this. And this is incredibly abstract because the game is like everything you would possibly ever need to make a forever MMO that could genuinely expand infinitely with an infinite amount of options you could just tack onto the side of it or fill out within it. And it's just all unrealized. It's like, the way I imagine the game is, it's a pantry full of ingredients. And the developers at Hello Games, I don't know why this is, you have really good teammates at stacking the pantry, but it's not so good at making meals from this pantry. You don't know why these seasonings belong with that type of dish. You just have the ingredients all available. You stack them in the correct order, you alphabetize them, and then just all go, yeah, it's done, move on. And it's really bizarre. You have you have such a golden egg here, and it's so wasted. So, let me talk about this one. The game has no combat. Like, yes, you can shoot unless you get attacked by stuff, but it's got no combat. Like, you point your everything laser and hold go. And that's it. And I don't know if it's a case of like Hello Games are just not interested in creating a sense of risk and reward within the game, and they're just trying to keep the whole thing as this sort of like, how would I describe it? Like when you go bowling, your parents put the railings up on the side so you don't gut a ball. It feels like Hello Games has created that kind of environment for us. More safety than there is risk and reward potential. And this is coming from someone who's playing on a permadeath to max out the risk reward satisfaction. And it's, again, you have all the potential and all the ingredients you need to really make something that's just butt-puckeringly intense. You could make it so when you find one of those abstract rare relics and you have to rush it back to a place like your own secure blah 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 with all your teammates on a freight that's defended by squadrons and frigates. Once you, where is that? You know, where's that pressure? Where's that tension? And maybe the developers, of course, the developers don't want to add tension to the game, but they do want people to feel like, yes, I beat that. I did this. I did a thing. You want people to feel satisfied with the game you're making. And not the game you're making, but it's like the experiences that you're curating for the player base, for us. Like, you have someone toiling away for 6 months to make this one experience, you release it to the public, and sure enough, everyone goes, that's a really cool plain piece of bread. You gonna add any flavor? You know, are you gonna, would you gonna toast this? You gonna add some butter? Gonna do like anything with it at all? But alas, it's just, no, you just handed the bread. And I'm sure the developers are like really proud of what they made. I'm really happy with the fact that they made this, you know, experience, or added this part to the game, or, you know, trimmed this bad thing down to an okay thing. Definitely, there's no shade there, even though it might sound like shade, but it really isn't. But anyway, regarding the combat system, it'd be nice if you guys actually made a combat system, set some time aside, or a couple of people, to figure out a way to put an actual, you know, soft core shooting game into it. It doesn't have to be super complex. We don't have to have it like Call of Duty, Call of Duty 9 in space, whatever. It just needs to be not a laser pen that feels like a laser pen. You've got the haptic feedback for the ships taking off, but you've got like no sensation or even awareness of how a character should feel when in combat, or when a pressure is being applied to them. And when pressure is applied, it doesn't actually matter to anything. There is no stake to it because the thing you're getting isn't actually a reward. It's like, it's go here, clear this area, come back, and now you have access to this feature in the game. Which I guess, yes, is a reward in itself, but if you wanted the idea of, here, you've completed a quest, now you are eligible for this sort of stuff, the stuff that you unlock should be branching you in to more of the game, as opposed to it being, congratulations, you reached the end, have a sticker. Hey, I still want my sticker. I'm not saying don't give out stickers, but what's the point? There's a feature in the game that brings me to this one, and that'll bring me to my next point too. There's a feature in the game where I can build my own starship. And I remember a few years back, trying to build my own solar sail ship, because in my mind this was such a really good idea. Then you released the Sentinel ships, and once we figured out, once we had been shown how to do the Sentinel ships, well, that was me. And you'll probably see after this video itself how often I'm going to talk about collecting Sentinel ships and looking for them. It is going to be an activity I enjoy to do. But hey, I'm satisfied with your early mid-game and then putting it on loop because I'm an autistic loser. Now, what about the other 4 million people that watch your videos? This is towards Hello Games. 4 million people that watch your videos, and yet you have how many people actually logging in each day? You have how many people talking about, hey, remember that time on No Man's Sky when we all hustled together and we barely got out in that clutch squeeze of a moment against that other faction or that other clan over there that also had their own thing going on, those mercenaries, and the mercenaries are over there being like those Korvac explorers always getting in our way or whatever. And now I find myself just focused on, I'm going to look for a ship that looks really nice. And they look nice, most of them do. And I'm going to collect them, scrap them, sell the parts, make the money, go back, hop stars, do it again, rinse and repeat. I have no reason to do this, other than me looking for one Sentinel ship that is a 0.5% better looking with its squid looking eyeballs. Right, so it's minimal reasoning. I'm doing it purely for the visual aesthetic. And when we talk about these, I'll talk about the aesthetic stuff later, don't you worry. Coming back to the whole plane stuff and regarding co-op, why aren't the dogfights fixed? Like, what percentage of your game is about starships? Don't answer, that's a rhetorical question. A large portion. And yet, we link up with our buddy and we're flying around and we hop to a new system, or we haven't actually sort of had to have an agreement or even a discussion about where we hop. Oh, and there's no real way to track where each person's hopping, not really effectively. There's no way of communicating with your buddies, hey, let's all hop here and we all vote and then we all jump at the same time to arrive in a dogfight against a bunch of pirates and a whatever, blue. That doesn't happen. Even though, again, it would be super easy to do this. I bet it would actually be easier to resynchronize multiplayer accounts, like 3 people from different times jumping to the same system simultaneously. You'd get us all back on the same loop again. We could all arrive at the same time because we're all synchronized. FromSoft are able to do this, and those guys are really shit when it comes down to multiplayer. Like, really bad. Like, they squeeze it through. They've got their own little method, and they've kind of like jury-rigged a system of which players have never been able to speak to each other and yet have full-blown emotional relationships to someone that they've only spent 40 minutes with and then they'll never see again. Because FromSoft have got the understanding of the depths of communicating with people has nothing to do with the words spoken. You know this one with the way you've animated language, or the lack of language, into your game. So you know the system works. You know the method works. I digress. There should be a lot more work on the dogfights. There should be a lot more work on space combat in general. It's a space exploration game, and you insist on throwing pirates down our throats on every star system, and yet if I hop with a buddy, he has to free aim the entire thing while I get the lock-on system. Why? Why can't one of us ping it and both of us target it? Or better yet, why don't my freighters next to my frigates next to my massive freighter blast this dude while he sat there? No, it's just for cosmetic reasons. It's basically just a cosmetic hammer, so fair enough. Still though, it'd be nice if the freighters at least just blasted randomly in random directions. Whatever. Space combat has a lot of potential that's just not tapped into it. Again, the way it's sort of like left is an absolute skeletal structure, bare minimal, passable, and yet it's still as enjoyable as it is. It's just, I don't know, watching pigs eat pearls. It's amazing. It's sad because it's got such potential. It has such longevity, such latent potential within it that's just not tapped into. And also, if you were to tighten up the whole co-op system and make stakes and make the whole dogfights and combat system tighter, this would genuinely fuel and feed into the market. You can have player-run markets where if you want to go and do your dogfight, sure, you're going to go need to get starship batteries to charge your ship in case you're in combat for so much, because that's what we see. You can either go source the material yourself or buy it from another player. Another player's going to make profit by doing that. You can then use that money to go buy, better shielding, or even better yet, better metal plating for their ship, and you can really expand into that. You'd create a market. And not only create a market, you'd create incentives for multiple people to come on as groups of friends and work together to conquer systems or star networks. Whole planets would just be overrun by 100 different people, but we've all agreed this is a mercenary world. So if you're a mercenary, you're welcome. You're one of us. And a tighter co-op experience would cement this. It would carve it in a stonework. There's no point creating a market without tightening up the combat and the co-op, and you have to recognize the MMO potential of this game. It's all there. You have the ability to do it. It'd be nice to see something, but until that happens, your in-game markets and the economy and anything like that, there is no such thing as it. I decide the value of stuff, and right now, I decide oxygen is way more important than some of the most expensive mods in the entire game that you can even find. And this doesn't touch on expeditions, which we will get to. In conclusion to this point about co-op, it's like, come on man, you have one of the best co-op potential experiences for a space game ever. Your only competition is things like Star Citizen, and that's such a tight niche of people, because in No Man's Sky you have abstractly more stuff available, even though it's way less dense, it's way more shallow, and it just reaches so much further. It'd be nice to see you do something with the co-op experience and actually make the game have a value. Until then, I decide the value of the markets within all the games, me personally. Fix that. It'd be nice to fix that. Potential and competition. Alright, let's talk about this subject. There's loads I could say about it, but I've kind of sprinkled in the points that I've made as I've gone along with this video, but I'll still go over it. First, I'm going to mention expeditions. So, I've got this understanding correct. You have curated game modes where people can experience certain features of the game that you have recently released. We get unique cosmetics and things that will benefit us. Sometimes they benefit us with actual legitimate stats, which is like FOMO. So I don't get those stat bonuses because I didn't own the correct console 5 years ago. That's sort of like a bit of a... you clearly don't care, you do not care about new players, you only care about the relic old players from the beginning. And fair enough, they've kept the game alive and you should care about them. But like, Yeah, the idea of a new player sticking around just get kicked in the groin when they have a look at expeditions and find out, no, not for you, you're not welcomed. Or you are welcomed, but you're not welcomed there, or there. Sure, okay. And regarding other stuff like that, there's loads of solutions we can have around this one. You already have players that actively have mods that I can go onto, like the Steam account, download the mod, play every expedition, uninstall the mod, bring my game back round to PlayStation and have all the expeditions completed. So like, why would you not just have all the expeditions available? And if you wanted to like curate them and like, I don't know, police them for whatever weird reason that you've got, why not have an expedition ticket item? A bit like the echolocators, or, you know, you can find an extremely rare item on some whatever planets, and this one item you hand in at the anomaly, and this allows you to go and take up one of the expeditions. When the expedition's completed, that ticket is gone and you've got to go earn another one if you want to go and do the next expedition. You can genuinely create that whole system, and then you'll have players that will be looking for these, again adding an ultimately rare item to the game, and it would be organically added because people will want to go and do expeditions. And I mean, that's providing you want to police who can and can't have the rewards from those expeditions, which is a really bizarre hill to put a flag on. I'd love to know, I'd love to hear a reason as to why that benefits Hello Games in any way, shape or form. I genuinely would. I imagine it's just a case of, it's easier on the servers, but like, that's fair enough. You want to make it a little easier on the servers, remove the custom difficulty and allow us to have an actual, you know, one galaxy, because it's big enough, one galaxy that is a real player-run market where every race, every faction, every guild, all of these systems are all interlinked and they all work. Reduce the amount of ships down by like 99%, so to find a crashed ship, that's a treat. That's a little gem that not many people are gonna necessarily get a chance to see. And allow us, the player base, to consume through that one galaxy. If someone goes around stripping all the ore off planets, so be it. We lose planets that way in that part of the system, leave them to it. Let them destroy little corners of it if they want, because in other parts you'll see enclaves arrive and you'll see factions that actually matter, or even outgame factions where actual players by the hundreds, real guilds will form within the game where different races will come together. I'm gonna digress. There's so much you can have here. And the expeditions is like a little microcosm of what seems to be either Hello Games' lack of willingness to take risks, or it's just a simple case of they genuinely do not have the respect for the player base that they kind of should have because of the pit that they climbed out of and the players that stood around them and helped them up to where it is today. You know, where's the love? Where's the, yeah, let's make something real special. Let's make a forever evolving universe that actually adapts and evolves and actually grows with the player base, rather than this snapshot in time that doesn't actually exist, that doesn't actually move. The whole universe is paused and there's no cash flow in the game. It doesn't exist. Your credits don't mean anything. Your nanites mean a little bit more, but ultimately, once you've got a nanite farm, they don't mean anything. It's just, you know, arbitrary number go up. At least in games like RuneScape, as you build up these numbers, you can go and unlock better and better stuff. You can purchase such and such from players like such and such. Sick of going to collect grenade ammo? Not a problem. Go to that person. He personally likes making it because he knows it's good sales, because he's on a planet that makes it. Whatever. competitions that No Man's Sky would actually have. It's minimal. There's no one really. You're like Minecraft in space, but you don't think you are. You're an MMO that doesn't MO. But you say you've got co-op, but you don't co-op. But there's no give and take for the cooperative experience. Which is more like, no, you're just in the same place at the same time. Which, yes, I suppose is a multiplayer experience, but it is most certainly not a let's tackle this together experience. Yeah, my solution to this would be section off one of the galaxies, create a player but run market, and treat this one galaxy as the No Man's Sky MMO. Treat it like that. Recognize it as that. And respect how the markets would work. Don't have it so each star system has a market. Have it so every market is interconnected, and if you want to trade for good stuff, you got to find other players. And a part of finding other players, well, that's where we bring races, factions, and things like this into the game. This is where we tighten up the combat scenarios and have star systems where combat matters. People will go to those places. You'd have one star system in 1,000 light year radius, that's a combat star. And there's only one moon in this entire system that's safe where you won't get attacked. PvP is not enabled there or whatever. And you go there, and there's multiple people there because everyone in 1,000 light year radius is going to eventually hop to this system because this is where the game begins. Congratulations, you live on a peaceful world. Congratulations, you can go to the toxic, radioactive, and such worlds to go and build your such and such equipment, ship, and add to your roleplay experience. But ultimately, if it's a player-run market, if it's a MMO experience, I would like to bring your attention to the way RuneScape's player-to-player interactions are. They are far superior than any other MMO that actually exists. Like, let's be real, everyone thinks about World of Warcraft's size and its magnitude, but no one thinks about its lack of immortality. You look over at how RuneScape's doing and you see it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. It's just getting bigger because they respect the player base, because they want to see growth and evolution, because they have the players run portions of this economic system within the game. There is a ludonarrative reason for us to be there. And if someone goes on and crashes a portion of the market, that's not, oh no, we've got a problem, we need to curate and make sure everyone's feeling okay. Oh no, that means if you was playing in that part of the game, you're screwed, you've just lost a lot of money. But if you wasn't playing in that game, you can make a lot of money. And it adds a story to get to the game that everyone can experience. You've got your quests, and then you've got the MMO things going on. That one time where someone discovered a bug and was able to just start blasting people in a non-PvP zone. People will talk about that for years. Get your own Falador massacre. Not that that's a good thing, not agreeing with it. Tragedy, many people cried. But the point would be, there would be canon events taking place within your universe. Right now, you're still, Hello Games, you're still living in this idea of No Man's Sky. That's the game that flopped, but then recovered. What is it doing now? Recovered. It doesn't, that's it. Now what are we doing? Now what's the plan? Are we just gonna sit here? Are you just gonna add a bunch of stuff and you're not actually gonna create a market, a world for this? Okay, I know I'm rambling, but check out this creature on the screen right now. This thing's face is absolutely repulsive. Look at it. Yep. Give me more of this. Anyway, your competitions aren't there. There's not much. Your competition on one side is Minecraft, which you're not supposed to be competing against anyway. It is what it is, and that's that. And on the other side, you've got games like Star Citizen and whatever that game that Bethesda tried to release but clearly didn't actually release anything because it was like a scam game or whatever. whatever that thing was. And I mean, like, they tried to pitch it like this was the game that No Man's Sky pretended to be, and then they released that garbage and just left the goalpost right open. But the point that they were making over there was, there's more to this, that Hello Games, you guys are seemingly not interested in developing, which would bring your game out of the best C-tier game ever created into an A+ MMO experience. This is the MMO in space. If you don't want to be a diehard sweat, which is when you would go to somewhere like Star Citizen or whatever. And I mean, like, that's the CSGO if you're the sandbox equivalent. And in the Star Citizen part, you can't terrain manipulate a planet. I don't actually know what you can and can't do on that game. I have no clue. All I know is you ain't playing it unless your computer's an Autobot. So, like, what's the dealio here? You got all the ingredients. It makes me think, it's not that there's a lack of talent within Hello Games, I'm not saying that, but it's like you've got all of these different types of talents and you're missing one specific type of cog or gear or system. Because you're lacking it, it keeps the game of No Man's Sky forever paused. And maybe you've got those people working over at Light No Fire. Sure, maybe that is the case, and maybe No Man's Sky is just that sort of like dead relic that you just sort of keep on life support while you're going to actually develop your real game of Light No Fire. And if that's the case, release it on console. Put it on console, please, and just announce it as, this is the game while it's still broken. You're welcome to join it while it grows. Don't say it's complete, just, include us. We're a large portion of the player base. And if you're curating it to PC players only, and that's sort of like the jam you're going to go with, fair enough, it will die. It will eventually get sick, because most people that actually want to sit down and play games don't want to buy PC components every year. But coming back to No Man's Sky, it'd be nice if there were some stakes in this game. It's like an MMO trapped in a stasis. It'd be nice if there was a forever system loop within it, an MMO feature of sort. Maybe a reason to link up with friends so you can all progress together. Maybe make a system where I can continuously upgrade my ship. Oh yeah, I didn't even talk about the Corvette system. Again, if we just think about the Corvette system, I hop to a planet with scrap, salvageable scrap, and then I can make an infinite ship of infinite everything that bloops everything. So building like a normal ship, no point to it, because it's just dead content. Which, in an MMO, it wouldn't be dead content. It would just be one of the tech paths you could go down, or a progression step along the way that everybody takes. In a player-run economy, you could make the Corvette pieces hold actual monetary weight. Each segment would be unbelievably expensive because you'd make them unbelievably rare. You'd make 3 or 4 Corvette pieces spawn on a planet. Now you actually have to explore if you want to actually find a Corvette shield or a Corvette this or a Corvette that. Wow, you would make the game a masterpiece of player-to-player interaction. One galaxy where you let the players run the market, make rare items rare, common items common, and allow us, the players that have supported you for the past 10 years, to actually live in the world that you've created. I think that's about all I've got to say on this one. We will talk about Corvettes in their own episode way down the line. I do have a plan for this one. We're not there yet. A little bit at the end for me to be grateful. Yeah, so I've just done 40 minutes of me complaining about stuff, and that's sort of not necessarily great for the whole personal energies and all whatnot. So I wanted to leave a bit at the end of this video so I have a chance to sort of say thank you to various different people. I know that many people ain't going to see this video, and it's sort of not really about them. This is my little bit. So I just want to say thank you to my partner, the girls of my life, my brothers. Vincent, it'd be nice to be able to spend more time with you, but I know that we're very different people, so as long as you're happy and safe, you know, just sort of send me a stupid meme every now and then. To T4Key, I'm gonna say this: you're doing great for where you are in life. You're doing better than me for when I was the same age as you. He's 10 years younger than me, just so you know, and he's smashing it, absolutely smashing it. Built like a wall, doing really well for himself. I won't talk about his life, that's his business and whatever. I appreciate the fact that my mum didn't wrap me in cotton wool. It meant that I grew up to be a bit more strong-willed, a bit more stones in my stomach. And I'm grateful for my dad, a very fine specimen of a man. I appreciate that. Nothing for me to ever complain about. Ultimately, I want to thank Jesus for showing up in my life. It's given me the opportunity to actually get this far, survive. It's a personal thing, and wasn't sure how I wanted to mention my faith in this video. I know that in the future, and much further in the future, many of my videos will mention faith, or at least sort of touch on it every now and then. I didn't want to get 60 episodes in and then just come out with a random Bible quote of you guys to think showboating, or I'm doing it for clout, likes, any of that business. This is genuinely me, so, you know, if this was the last video I make, which it won't be, but if it was, then at least then I can sort of say comfortably I gave a shout out to the people that were most important to me. This is mostly a video just for me to be able to rant to myself, I suppose. Hello games, watch this video, listen to what I've said. I haven't criticized you because I dislike you. I've criticized you because I want you to be an immortal forever game that lasts forever. And if you won't do that, give us light no fire, because when I saw the trailer for that, you had me salivating and chomping at the bit. I'm on PS5 though. You gotta lower the bar for us a little. And if any other multi-billionaires happen to also be watching this video and you're trying to do something that's altruistic, try sending me a couple million so I can make a movie. And if I make a movie, then you can call yourself a movie producer, because I'll just be the director. Whatever, I might not leave this in the video. I probably am. Yeah, I'm making these videos, I'm practicing with editing, and it definitely takes the edge off how serious life is, how serious things can be in life. I get the opportunity just to play around with a skill that I trained when I was really young, and then because of, you know, the nature of life, I forgot that I even had the skill until I sat down and I'm trying to make a music video for Night Rain. Yeah, and I remembered just how much I actually enjoyed making videos like this. My series of living in the No Man's Sky universe is going to continue. I'm going to continue with them until I reach the end of the content. It'd be nice to be able to work with the team down the line. I am sounding delusional. I get that, but I'm ambitious. I feel like I can make something here. I feel like if No Man's Sky needs someone to put their finger into it to turn it into a living, real-time experience, I'll throw my hat in. I'll have a discussion with you. I'll help you guys out. I'll do it. I'll be happy to do it because the game has so much potential. Hopefully the music that I've played through the video isn't too distracting. Hopefully I've labelled everyone that's in the video sort of music. Hopefully I sort of tagged them all correctly. If not, whoops. I probably won't make long form videos like this very often, because it's like I've said my piece, and once I've said my piece I don't have to come back round to it again, even though I have touched upon loads of these subjects throughout the past couple of episodes. But here, I can sit down, I can solidify the whole thought process and hand it to you as a completed piece. And then plus with this video, if you've sat and watched to the end, thank you. You are weird for watching to the end of this video. I won't ask you to like or subscribe or anything like that. I probably never will ask anyone to do that on this channel, because it's like, you will like and follow if you like and want to see more. It feels really abstract making stuff like this. It kind of feels like I'm in a constant state of pretend, I suppose. Kind of feels like I'm faking it. So shout out to my brothers, shout out to my loved ones at home, a shout out to Jesus for letting me get this far, for letting me, you know, providing the tools for me to be able to make this, and for whatever opportunities and whatever will he has for me in the future. Please be merciful. So I am going to close this video on a Bible verse that's important to me, and yeah, and that'll be my business. So if you're done, you're done. If you stay, you stay. I appreciate it. Okay, here we go. Psalm 146. Praise ye the Lord, praise the Lord, O my soul. While I live, I will praise the Lord. I will sing praise unto God while I have any being. Put not your trust in princes, nor in the sons of man, in whom there is no help. His breath goeth forth, he returneth to his earth. In that very day his thoughts perish. Happy is he that hath the God of Jacob for his help, whose hope is in the Lord his God, which made heaven and earth, and the sea, and all that therein is, which keepeth truth forever, which execute judgment for the oppressed, which giveth food to the hungry. The Lord looseth the prisoners, the Lord openeth the eyes of the blind, the Lord raiseth them that are bowed down, the Lord loveth the righteous. The Lord preserveth the stranger, he relieveth the fatherless and widow. But the way of the wicked he turneth upside down. The Lord shall reign forever, ever thy God, O Zion, unto all generations. Praise ye the Lord. Thank you all for staying to the end of the video. I hope everything was clear, and I hope you all take the time to tune in to my videos in the future. Everybody stay blessed, stay in contact with your loved ones, and eat healthy. I don't know what else to say. Do good by you, do good by others, and try to live a life full of richness and abundance. Read up, stay strong, and don't be going hollow.